Okay, I've done this video before. This is the S&P 500 from the day that President Trump took over on January 20th or so of this year, 2025. And up until now, kind of going to go through it, but I've added some things, okay? Now, this vertical line, of course, shows where he began. I have the average gain for the S&P 500 for each year. That for the 1 year average gain for President Biden was 13.49%. Under Trump, his first term, the S&P 500 rose on average 14.1%. So beating by just a hair over 0.5%. I've also added, from my studies I did using Grok 3 AI, the prompt that I gave him was to act as an expert economist and or hedge fund manager and describe in detail the economy that President Trump, the state of the economy that President Trump inherited. So he did, and there's a couple disclaimers I need to go over right now, especially because I'm going to show you my book at the end, and I'm going to make some jokes here. But when politicians are talking and saying something, it's a good idea to do a little fact checking if you want to know the truth, especially these days, because he inherited a very good, solid economy. He also handed off a very good one to Joe Biden. So anyway, it was robust and above trend expansion. There's more you can read if you want. The labor market at historic length. Stock markets and corporate earnings were at or near records. It's been a solid economy. Inflation was cooling dramatically. Been nice not to ever have that inflation. 2022, minus 19.44%. The Federal Reserve had to go in there and cool the economy by raising interest rates because inflation got real bad. It got real bad, commonly believed to be from all those extra stimulus checks, okay? We have economically at global leadership and no recession signals. And then I made sure to write down any weaknesses. It told me that primary weaknesses were limited but notable. And it talks a little bit about like that lingering inflation, household, food and housing. And housing is still an issue, but the prices there have been up a little bit. So we're going to go over the timeline. I'm going to crack a couple jokes. Each candlestick is 1 day. So Trump, let's just get on with it. Trump took over right in here. There was, with new administration, you've heard that beautiful word called tariff and all that, which is actually, truthfully, it's a tax. It's a tax paid by us, the consumer, and as well as a little bit the exporter and importer. But I think about 40 to 50% tax on us is we'll pay. Anyway, so we got a lot of that talk. And then down here is, to be quite honest, this is Liberation Day. Now, if you are good with economic knowledge, meaning a little bit about fundamentals of stocks and of the economy, then that was pretty much kind of like a pro wrestling event, because this wasn't a good thing. And then, of course, bam, the markets react. And then about 4 or 5 days later, I have here Trump tapped out. And what I mean by that is, besides the sarcasm, is that he had no choice, man. This market just couldn't keep on going down like that. But he extended the deadlines to negotiate deals for the countries. Hey, but his base that probably doesn't really have knowledge, of this nature, and it sounded good to them. Okay, and it gave us buying opportunities, and we did buy in here. So we did no selling down in here. We sell a little bit up here, buy some down here. Anyway, so then we get a we've had a really good run, man. It's nice to watch. Had a couple down days here. That's a decent red day. Of course, it went up to an all-time high right there, and then come down and dip down. Another all-time high. We've had about 26 all-time highs this year. The average all-time highs, I believe, is 19. So the bottom line is where you start and where you finish. I like to make little jokes about this because I was ready to pounce and do some buying, but this was only a one-day deal. What this is, it's a couple weeks ago, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, China, right before Trump was meeting with the China leadership to negotiate, to finish up whatever plans they got for their trade deals, China did a press release about limiting the amount of minerals, stuff that we need, that we should never became dependent on them, but we did, at least for now. Trump came back with a scathing on Truth Social. Let me just add, Truth Social is owned by Trump Media Technology Group, which is a money-losing company. I could show you on my charts. I've short sold that company many times, just out of fun and spite, and made money every time. But no, Truth Social is it's a money loser. But anyway, that's where he likes to. He's part of his deal is in his contract is he gets paid to use that as his primary, send out the messages. Anyway, Trump backed off a little bit, said everything's going to be nice with China, and we've had a nice bounce back. Now, let's get down to some numbers. Where are we at here? Where are we at as far as percentage gain for the year? Really hope, I'm still optimistic we can get to 20%. We've had a little bit of a pullback lately, but we're at 13.3%. If I was a betting man, I would say we'd finish around 17, which is not that 20% range that we're looking for, but it's solid, and it is solid. So we're at 13.34%, and then real quick, I'm going to go as fast as I can. This is my first book. This is a picture of the radio that I used in Operation Desert Storm. After the air war began, I had 2 radio channels that I could get. One giving me Iraqi propaganda, the other from the BBC News. The BBC News information was matching what I was seeing there from the skies, watching planes fly over and bomb, from the reports that I was getting from my lieutenants. And the Iraqi propaganda channel was sounding like a lot of the stuff if you watch online news or get your news from on the internet or podcasters, a lot like that. You just may not know it. Anyway, this is only 110, 115 pages, and I've gotten really good feedback from some people that I respect. And then, of course, Mirage of Genius, From Fake Billionaire to Post-Truth President. This is also on audiobook. I had it legally reviewed, meaning there's nothing in there that is a false accusation. And we cover Liberation Day. You got 2 sections in there about Liberation Day. All right, you got the day leading up, you got Liberation Day leading up to releasing the tariffs. They did it in the after hours because they didn't want it to be like front page news at 12 o'clock in the daytime that Trump releases the tariffs and the market's selling off. They waited until the market closed. But it all worked out. Anyway, this is also on audiobook. So before I knock stuff over, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I think I'm not a genius. I am going to take, when I get back, I've been studying for it. It's a test called the Securities Industries Essentials Examination. And anyway, but I'm not a genius. That would be my only qualification, other than I'm a member of the CNBC Investing Club for about 4 or 5 years, ever since it started. But anyway, I think we're in good shape. And whoever's driving, don't wreck. Have a good one.